Hello everyone. Let's dive straight into embedding intelligent agents into Power Pages. The formal definition of this process is the integration of a Copilot Studio agent into a Power Pages site through a specialized web component or an iframe, allowing the agent to provide real-time conversational support to visitors. In plain everyday English, it is giving your website a mouth and a brain. You see, a regular website is like a library. It's full of great info, but you have to find it yourself. When we embed an intelligent agent, we are putting a friendly 24/7 concierge right at the front desk. Imagine you run a local community center. A neighbor visits your site at 2 a.m. and wants to know, are there any pottery classes for kids this Saturday? Instead of them clicking through 10 pages, they just ask the agent and it answers them instantly. Stay with me here because this isn't just about a chat box. It's about making your web experience feel alive and helpful. You've probably seen this at the office, where you're struggling to find an HR policy and a little bubble pops up to guide you. That is the concierge in action. Let's break this down together. We are moving from a silent website to a talking experience. So now that we've mastered the idea that an agent is our digital concierge, you might be wondering where we actually go to pick up our agent and bring them over to our website. Well, that brings us right into our next step, which is the Copilot component in the Design Studio. This brings us to the Copilot component. The technical documentation describes this as a low-code drag-and-drop element within the Power Pages Design Studio that enables makers to select a published agent from their environment and place it onto a specific page or the global header. To speak naturally, it is inviting your assistant to the party. You don't have to write any scary code to get your agent onto the screen. Imagine a dummy example of a real estate website. You have your agent all trained in Copilot Studio. You open your Power Pages command center, click the plus button, find the Copilot icon and drag it right onto your home page. It's as easy as placing a photo on a slide. You've probably noticed at the office how some tools feel bolted on. But this component makes the agent feel like a natural part of the site's furniture. Let's break this down together. We are physically placing our brain onto our front porch. So now that we've mastered how to drag and drop our assistant onto the page, you might be wondering how we make sure that assistant knows all the inside secrets of our website so it can answer those tricky customer questions. Well, that brings us right into our next step, which is grounding the agent on website content. Now we need to talk about grounding the agent. The formal definition says grounding is the process of pointing your intelligent agent to your Power Pages site URL as a primary knowledge source, allowing the AI to use generative answers to search and summarize site content in response to user queries. In simple everyday English, it's giving your assistant the employee handbook. If you don't ground the agent, it's just a smart robot that doesn't know anything about your business. Think of a dummy example. You have a local plumbing website with a long page about emergency rates. When a customer asks, how much is it for a pipe burst at midnight, the grounded agent reads your specific page in a millisecond and gives the exact price. Stay with me here because this saves you from having to program every single answer manually. You have probably seen this when you are talking to a bot and it says, I found this on the website for you. That is grounding in action. Let's break this down together. We are making sure our concierge is an expert on our stuff. So now that we've mastered how to make our assistant an expert on our public pages, you might be wondering how we handle the VIP visitors who are logged in and want to ask about their own private data. Well, that brings us right into our next step, which is contextual awareness and user authentication. This brings us to authenticated conversations. The technical documentation defines this as the ability of the embedded agent to recognize the identity of a logged-in Power Pages user, allowing the agent to personalize responses and access contact-scoped data securely. In plain language, it is recognizing the member. This is where the magic happens. Imagine a dummy example. Sachin logs into his car repair portal. He asks the agent, when is my car ready? Because the agent is context aware, it doesn't say, who are you? It sees that Sachin is logged in, checks the database and says, hi Sachin, Your car will be ready at 4 p.m. today. You've probably noticed at the office how professional it feels when an app already knows your name and your history. This connection between the portal and the agent creates that premium feeling. Let's break this down together. We are making our intelligent app personal and secure. So now that we've mastered how the agent recognizes our members, you might be wondering how we can make the agent look like it truly belongs to our brand, using our colors and our style. Well, that brings us right into our next step, which is styling and customizing the chat interface. Let's dive into customizing the chat interface. The formal definition describes the use of CSS and the styling workspace to modify the appearance of the chat widget, including the icon, the bubble colors, and the typography, to ensure it aligns with the website's global theme. To put it very simply, it is the uniform. You wouldn't want your concierge at a fancy hotel wearing a clown suit. You want them to look the part. Imagine a dummy example. Your website for a modern law firm is all professional gold and navy blue. You don't want a bright neon green chat bubble in the corner. You use the styling tools to make the chat bubble navy and the text font match your law firm's headers. You've probably noticed at the office how some websites have chat boxes that look like they belong to a different company. We avoid that by making sure our agent wears the company uniform. Let's break this down together. We are focusing on the product pillar by building a beautiful unified brand. So now that we've mastered how to make our agent look great and talk smart, you might be wondering how we check if our digital concierge is actually doing a good job or if customers are getting frustrated. Well, that brings us right into our next step, which is monitoring interactions and analytics. Finally, we reach analytics and continuous improvement. This technical area focuses on using the Copilot Studio dashboard to review conversation transcripts and resolution rates for chats that happen specifically on your Power Pages site. In our relaxed classroom tone, it simply means the manager's review. I've seen that the best agents are the ones that get coached every week. You look at the logs and see, aha, a lot of people are asking about holiday hours, but the agent is getting confused. You then go back to your website, update the holiday hours page, and the agent becomes smarter instantly because it's grounded on that page. Imagine a dummy example. You see that 50 people asked about parking, but your agent had no answer. You simply add a small parking info section to your site and poof, the agent is now a parking expert. Let's break this down together. As builders, we are the mentors of our AI. We've looked at the digital concierge, dragging them onto the porch, giving them the employee handbook, recognizing our VIP members, putting them in the right uniform, and finally coaching them to be better. We've mastered embedding intelligent agents into public portals. You now know how to build a web experience that truly talks to your customers. Well, that brings us right into our next chapter,